What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Shelves. If you're new to this channel or new to this video, this is basically my Blu-ray and DVD haul update video where I talk about all the Blu-rays and DVDs that I've got over the past month, give my mini reviews for them, and just tell you whether or not you should go out and buy them or not. And I got a shitload of videos to talk about today, so I'm going to try to move through them kind of quickly. A lot of these are older movies because I got a 4K TV, so I bought a lot of 4K Blu-rays on movies that I already owned, but I wanted to upgrade to them, so I'm going to start with some foreign films. If you know anything about me, I've never watched foreign films before, but I've had a buddy of mine, Anthony, who's been just digging at me for years about, you need to watch them, you need to watch them, quit complaining about the subtitles. And so I basically let him pick 3 that I would go out and buy, and I've watched one of them so far, but I bought 4, actually 5. First one was Battle Royale, and that's the one that I actually watched. He was telling me about this for the longest time. I've heard about it for the longest time because this is basically the movie that influenced Hunger Games and a ton of movies like it. Belko Experiment, stuff like that. And this was a really good movie. It was really good. I wish I would have seen it earlier on before I had seen those movies, and that's probably the reason why Anthony's been digging at me to watch these foreign films, because they're so influential for stuff we see in America that's not quite as good. But it was a lot of fun. It was pretty violent, pretty grim, but it took me a while to get used to the subtitle thing, as always, but this was a good foreign film to start off with. Definitely recommend going out and buying this one. This is a good little set, director's cut. It wasn't even that expensive, so go out and buy it. I Saw the Devil. This was the other one he recommended. He recommended me watching this one last out of the 3 because he said it's absolutely brutal. Haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet, but if you guys know this movie, please tell me how awesome it's going to be when I finally do get a chance to sit down and watch it. Pan's Labyrinth, which I've heard about for years. Everybody says it's Guillermo's best movie, one of the best fantasy horror movies out there. I've never seen it. So I picked that one up. That was his second recommendation. So I'll be watching this one next because I've heard that this is really... It's a lot of fantastical elements and a lot of creature design, and I'm just excited to see that. I like Guillermo del Toro, but some of his movies I feel like a little bit are overhyped, like Crimson Peak I didn't think was all that good, some other movies that he's done, so I'm excited to see what everybody calls his best film. And the last ones, which everybody knows because everybody talks about them all the time, was The Raid and The Raid 2. I bought these because I've seen some YouTube clips of the action scenes. I'm not a big Kung Fu movie guy, but I'm excited to see if maybe this will be as awesome for me as it is for everybody else. So I've seen pieces of The Raid, haven't had a chance to sit down and watch the whole movie yet, and a lot of people say The Raid 2 is even better. So pick this one up. Let me know if you're a fan down in the comment section below. Now let's get these 4K Blu-rays out of the way. Big ass stack. Now basically I went and I bought a 4K TV and I wanted to, at first I just wanted to buy a couple movies to see how it was going to look, and then there was a lot of deals about, you know, trading in movies and upgrading 4K, and you know, I bought a ton of them because they didn't really cost me all that much, and they're normally pretty expensive, so I kind of went a little crazy. But the first one I got, I like this movie. I don't love it, but I figured it would be a great showcase for 4K, and that's Oblivion with Tom Cruise. It's a pretty cool little sci-fi flick. It was really marred by horrible trailers because the trailer gave away all the best reveals in the movie. I haven't seen it since the theaters, but I remember enjoying it enough. Tom Cruise is always good. Morgan Freeman was pretty good, but just not nearly as awesome as Edge of Tomorrow. So I do recommend, as far as a movie, to check this out on Netflix. I think it's worth seeing. It's not necessarily worth going out and shelling out a bunch of money for, but I figured it would look awesome on 4K, so I picked that one up. Moving on from that is a movie that I've actually had the chance to sit down and watch for the first time because I never really had that much interest in it, but it was a really cheap 4K Blu-ray because it was on sale, and that's Now You See Me. I never really cared too much about this movie. I never heard anything overwhelmingly positive for it, and it was a fun little movie, you know what I mean? It wasn't anything amazing. There was definitely some plot issues there. The twist was a little bit weird, and you're like, what? That doesn't quite make sense. And it just wasn't a whole lot of payoff there, but it was really cool visually. It looked great on 4K, and all the actors in this were a lot of fun. Jesse Eisenberg was really fun. Isla Fisher was really fun. Woody Harrelson especially was a lot of fun, so I do recommend seeing this. This is another, check it out on Netflix. Not a movie you should go out and shell a bunch of money out for, but definitely worth seeing. Next one I got is, again, because it was going to look amazing on 4K, and that's Sicario. This was a big movie last year, or actually the year before. Denis Villeneuve, this is one of his movies. It was Oscar nominated. I don't remember if it won. I think it might have won for maybe cinematography or something. Don't quote me on it. But a really gritty, cool movie. So I wanted to check this out. This is definitely a go out and buy it movie. Absolutely. I mean, it's an Oscar contender. It was when it first came out, and it still holds up today. They're getting ready to do a sequel for it, which I don't know how that's going to work out, but a really gritty movie, and especially from Benicio del Toro. His character in this is like the Benicio del Toro that I want to see in every movie from now on, because he is a badass. And our co-host returns. The next one I got, again, not a movie that I'm like dying to go buy multiple versions of, but I really thought this was going to be a cool 4K Blu-ray to have because there's a lot of wild color palettes in it, and it was on a good sale. And it is a movie that I do enjoy despite its insane number of flaws, and that's Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is complicated, to say the least. There are some awesome things in this movie, and there are some wildly amateurish, horrible mistakes in this movie. The characters are a lot of fun, the ones that actually do get some showcase. The Joker is really underused. He should have been the villain in this. I always thought that from the beginning. Will Smith is cool. You can tell the movie's really catered to him. Margot Robbie's probably the best character in this as Harley Quinn. She does a really great job bringing that character to life, but just terrible villain, some really weird script ideas. I know the guy didn't get very much, David Ayer didn't get very much time to write the script, but some of it's just like, come on, dude, this is comic books 101. You could have found something better than that. So, Suicide Squad, check it out on Netflix. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of problems too. This movie, I have always loved. This is one of my favorite comic book movies that nobody talks about hardly, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's so long or if it's such a niche comic book graphic novel story that people just don't recognize it, but that's The Watchmen. And I bought this because, again, this is a really cheap 4K Blu-ray. I've already bought The Watchmen a couple of times because there was the regular edition that came out, then there was the director's edition, and then there was the ultimate cut, which this one is, where they add in like comic book frames to extend the movie even longer, which I don't know I'm gonna like that or not, but an awesome movie with awesome characters, an awesome soundtrack. I've always loved this. This is one of Zack Snyder's best, and you know, I'm a fan of Zack Snyder. I don't think all of his movies are perfect. I don't think that, you know, he's flawless as a director, but he's come up with some damn good movies, and people just act like he's Michael Bay or something, where he just turns out schlock, and he's not. He's a much more capable director than people give him credit for. Now, this movie is a movie I've always been a big fan of, and that's Underworld. And this was, again, a really cheap 4K Blu-ray buy. And Watchmen is a go out and buy it, by the way. Go out and buy that one, like twice. Underworld is a lot of fun. This kicked off the Underworld franchise, which, you know, for better or worse, it kicked off a franchise. I really think the first two are the only ones that I would constantly go back and watch again. But Underworld's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of crazy color palettes to it again. I love vampires and werewolves, and they do both of them awesome in this. I love the lore and the mythology that this movie presents, like with the vampire elders that go to sleep for different generations. Just such a cool movie. And if you haven't seen it, this is definitely the one to start with. Don't start with any of the ones that have come out the past couple of years because they both suck. But this one, and even though people give it a lot of shit, Underworld, Evolution are awesome movies. And even the prequel, Rise of the Lycans, is fun, but don't watch it before you watch these. So Underworld is great. Go out and buy it. Now this one, I wrestled with whether or not to buy it because I already own 4 of these movies, but it was a really good deal for a set of movies because, you know, 4K Blu-rays on average are like 30 bucks a piece, and this entire set was $90, and there's 5 movies in here. So yeah, you save a lot of money with that. And it's a badass little set. Like, I've opened it up, and it's just got so much detail to it, and that's the Bourne Collection. Now, I hated the 5th one, Jason Bourne. I fucking hated that movie. That was my most disappointing movie last year. Everything about that movie just pisses me off, but whatever. It came part of the set. I love the first one. I love Ultimatum, and I'm actually a big fan of the Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner. A lot of people don't like that movie. I actually like it quite a bit. I'll have to give Bourne Supremacy another watch. For some reason, that one has always bored me. Now, I know it's got a lot of good things about it. It's definitely dark. It's definitely gritty, but I'm not a fan of Paul Greengrass's direction. He's very shaky cam, and it's never... Before Jason Bourne, it was never worse than The Supremacy, but I loved when they kind of pulled it back in for Ultimatum. So an awesome set, and it's probably not on sale now, but that was an awesome deal. But just everything about this set, like to the covers on the back, and there's a lot of detail put into the box, and there's this little slip cover to it. I mean, this is an awesome set. They did not just shell this out for a quick little, you know, cash grab. They put some time and some design into this. So absolutely go out and buy all of these movies, except for Jason Bourne. This is another one. I was a huge fan of this movie. I don't want to talk about it too in detail because I've already gushed about it. I love Deepwater Horizon. I had to upgrade to this because this is an awesome movie to see. It's got a lot of really dark and like crazy stuff going on as far as like the fire and when the tanker explodes. So I definitely wanted to have the 4K version. Awesome movie. Go out and buy it. That's Mark Wahlberg's best. Up until a movie I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. Another one I got. Told you I got a lot of them. Creed. Again, huge sale, and this was a must-have. This is one of those ones where I was like, okay, I have to own this one just because this is an awesome, awesome movie. Everything about this worked when it shouldn't have. You think about an Apollo Creed son side story in the Rocky franchise, and everybody who's a fan just rolled their eyes like, what the hell, dude? That's the worst thing you could have thought of. But this movie is phenomenal. Arguably one of the best, if not the best of the franchise. That's no credit completely, not only to Sylvester Stallone's performance, which he actually got an Oscar nomination for. I think he should have won. But you got Michael B. Jordan giving one of his best performances, and the director, oh God, what's his name? I can't think of it. No! Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler was an awesome director in this. Just a great story, and one of the best performances, if not the best performance you're ever going to see Sylvester Stallone give in his life. Absolutely go out and buy that one. Hacksaw Ridge, I talked about this in the last video. I just upgraded to the 4K Blu-ray, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. One of Mel Gibson's best movies. I think it battles with Braveheart for me as for his best directorial effort. It's probably my favorite war movie. I love the hell out of this movie, and it looks incredible on the 4K. This was the first one that I bought, the first one that I watched, and it was enthralling how amazing this movie looks. So go out and buy this one. Mad Max Fury Road. Everybody knows this movie. It's badass, start to finish. One of the best action movies to come out in years. Could have used a little bit more from Tom Hardy. He only has like maybe 7 lines in the whole movie, but hopefully we'll see more in the sequel. But absolutely go out and buy this one. One of the best action movies and one of the best of the franchise. Magnificent Seven. I'm going to go a little bit faster now. One of the best action movies of last year. I love Denzel. I love whenever he works with Anton Fuqua. I wasn't a huge fan of Chris Pratt's character because I feel like half of his one-liners worked, half of them fell really flat. But the movie's really enjoyable. It's got a really good cast of characters and some of the best shootouts you're ever going to see. I mean, they're incredible. So go out and buy that one. 2 more, guys. Man of Steel. Had to buy it. I mean, 4K. Man of Steel is one of the best superhero movies. It is my favorite Superman. What in the world are you doing? It is my favorite Superman movie, and it's going to look incredible when I finally do watch this. This is a go out and buy, absolutely. Just like I said with The Watchmen, Zack Snyder kicked ass with this movie. I wish he would have made Batman v Superman as amazing as this, because Man of Steel is a masterpiece, but I love this movie. Go out and buy that one. And then, you know I had to buy this. John Wick. I mean, this was, when I bought the 4K TV, I bought this one right alongside it, because I haven't watched it in 4K yet, but I was like, I have to own John Wick in 4K. I love the sequel even more, but this movie is just incredible. It's one of the best action movies to ever be made, and the sequel is even better, which is just an amazing feat. So definitely go out and buy John Wick. That movie is the shit. Alright. Now on to the new movies. So, I told you I bought a lot this month. Alright, we'll talk about some kid movies first. Moana. This was an Oscar contender when it came out. I'm not a huge Disney fan, but this movie was really enjoyable, and what I liked about it is that it had that classic Disney aspect of like almost like a musical, and the songs are incredible in this movie. I don't know how this movie didn't win for best song, because it's really good. The Rock is really good in his character, and it's got a really good message to the story. The animation is incredible. Moana, definitely go out and buy it, especially if you got kids. But you want to hold the movies too? Sing, I'll be honest with you, I didn't make it all the way through it. I fell asleep. My kids love it though. They keep watching it over and over again, so they must have done something right. So if you have kids, go out and buy it. As far as adults, I think it's a Netflix watch. Want your dog again? Here you go. This one I bought at Walmart just because I don't own the other two. The Mummy trilogy, it was really cheap. I love the first one. I really like the second one. I hate the third one, but it was cheaper to buy this trilogy. They had it such a good sale. It was cheaper to buy the trilogy than to just go out and buy the Mummy Returns. So I bought this. Really good set, really good deal. Like I said, the first two are really good. So the first Mummy is a go out and buy it. The second one is a check it out on Netflix. The third one is a skip the hell out of that movie because it's horrible. Major Pain. I've always loved this movie, and it finally came out on Blu-ray at Walmart. It's a Walmart exclusive, so it's a little bit hard to find if you don't have a Walmart next to you that has a really good Blu-ray section, which none of them do. So I had to go out and buy this immediately when I heard it was out. This is just a fun 90s comedy. Basically, you got Major Pain, who was played by Damon Wayans. He's an ex-war veteran, and he gets handed these little group of delinquents to take care of in a military school, and he just tortures the shit out of those kids because they think he's playing around, and he like basically trains them like they're going to war. And it's just such a fun movie. The only thing I'll say about this is that the HD transfer looks like shit. It looks like a DVD. I put this on the 4K TV and I was like, oh my god, this looks bad. So it's worth owning if you love the movie enough that you want to have some copy of it, but don't go out and buy this just to upgrade it if you already have the DVD, because it's going to look exactly the same. But the movie itself is a go out and buy it. Now you got this one. Now this one is a point of controversy for me because I loved this movie and nobody else seemed to, and that's Live by Night. Now I love Ben Affleck's directing. I love every movie he's come out with, and this movie is of no exception. It is his weakest film to date, but his other 3 movies are so fucking phenomenal that saying this is his weakest film is not really that big of a knock. And this is basically the story of Joe, played by Ben Affleck. He gets tied up with the mob. He has to go over to Florida and start this little operation while he's trying to get revenge on this mob boss back in Chicago, I believe. And this movie is, people expected something completely different, I think, and that's what ruined it for a lot of people. They were expecting a slam bang action thriller like The Town, and this is more of a callback to classic cinema. There's a lot of dialogue, a lot of classically set up shots. I mean, the camera work and everything is really good, the acting is really good. The only thing that I really walked away with this is they really hammer home that Joe is a good guy and he's just misunderstood when he's not a good guy. He does a lot of bad shit, and it's just one of those things where, like, they're trying to convince you he's a good guy when you're like, no, he's not. He's not misunderstood. He's just a likable bad guy. And if they had went with that, it would have been a flawless movie to me. But a lot of people just didn't walk away liking this movie. I think it was incredible. Like, I will say check it out on Netflix if you're curious to see it, because it is long and obviously it's not for everybody. But if you're a Ben Affleck fanatic like me, I thought it was incredible. So I say go out and buy it. But you know who you are in that equation. This is another movie that I like more than most people, and that's Passengers. And this is another 4K Blu-ray that looked really, really good when I bought it. This is a movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt, and basically they're on this ship that's going on this 100-year voyage to this new planet, and Chris Pratt gets woken up mistakenly like 90 years too early. And then Jennifer Lawrence gets woke up, and I'm not going to tell you too much about the plot because there's a lot of plot twists in it that I think you should watch because it makes the movie a lot more interesting than the trailer made it look like. But they both act really well, especially Chris Pratt. The only problem with this movie is the third act goes so cliche Hollywood that they squander any real potential that this movie had in the third act. You are nuts. I would have liked to have seen it go a darker direction or go into a more unpredictable direction, but it basically turns into this special effects spectacle cliche ending, and it's like, no. And I have a sneaking suspicion that maybe there was a couple different endings written for this movie, but the studio went with the happy, like, crowd pleaser ending, and they shouldn't have. They should have taken more risks. But this movie is has a lot going for it. It's a really good movie. I think the 2 performances are really good, and they talked up the sex scene way too much. That was the big marketing campaign for this is, ooh, it's going to be Jennifer Lawrence's first sex scene. You don't even see anything. It's over in like 2 seconds. You barely see either of them. I mean, you see a lot of Chris Pratt's ass in this movie, so if you're a fan of that, you know, go for it. But that was the only thing that they made in the marketing campaign that always bothered me too, is that they were kind of selling it off the sex appeal of it, and that's not really what this movie's about, you know. But I like this a lot. I'll say check it out on Netflix because it's not a perfect movie at all. It's definitely worth seeing though. It's a really enjoyable sci-fi movie. I just wish, if I was writing the movie, I think, you know, call me vain, it would have turned out better because I would have taken us to some dark spots in that third act that I think they should have followed through with, because there's some dark elements and some dark questions that this movie asks you, and it's one of those things where you're like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. So it's definitely worth checking out. Check it out on Netflix. Now, I had said that Deepwater Horizon was Mark Wahlberg's best movie up until this movie, Patriots Day. Again, just such a phenomenal movie by Peter Berg and by Mark Wahlberg. This movie was incredible when I saw it. I mean, yeah, I know, it's so good. It tells the story of the Boston bombing that happened a couple years ago about the two brothers who set off those little pressure cooker bombs, and they injured a ton of people, killed a few of them, and it's such an incredible real life tragic story that they brought to the screen so well and so respectfully that all the performances are great. The movie's got just this crazy boiling tension throughout it. What? Here you go. And it's just a really respectful way that they brought it. I mean, it's such an enthralling story, and it's the key to it is that they show. You want to hold it? Here, you can hold it. They show all the true life people who were involved in this, from just some people who seem insignificant that they just got their legs blown off, and you stay with those people all the way up to like one cop that did one tiny little thing to aid the investigation, all the way up to, you know, you got Kevin Bacon's character who's like the FBI guy who's in the lead. And just so many awesome things about this movie, and such a great story. It's a very important story to tell, and a very important story for you to experience, especially if you were not there and you don't understand the horror of what actually happened that day. So absolutely go out and buy this one. It was an incredible movie. Okay, now you can hold this one. This is a movie this is the only one of the new ones I have not seen yet, and that's Silence. This is Martin Scorsese's newest movie. Here you go, you can hold it. And it stars Liam Neeson and Adam Driver and and Andrew Garfield. And basically, from what I understand, Liam Neeson is like this Jesuit priest who goes to Japan, who at the time of this movie was really, really prejudiced against Christians and was really brutal towards them. And Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver go there to try to get him back. So I love Martin Scorsese. I heard a lot of mixed things about this movie, but I was always intrigued by it. So I bought it to watch it. I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch it because that's a long one, and I'm sure it's going to be slow, so I have to be in the right mindset and the right energy level to get through it. But I went out and bought that one as well. Just can't tell you how I like it yet. And we'll end on a low note, unfortunately. Why him? Now, I was really excited for this movie. This is James Franco and the man Bryan Cranston getting together. And this is a story we've seen a ton of times where you have the girlfriend bringing home the family to meet the boyfriend, and the dad and the boyfriend don't get along, and they're on opposite ends of the earth. We've seen it with Meet the Parents. We've seen it with, the movie with Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac, Guess Who? And this movie is basically the rated R super raunchy version of that, but it's so over-the-top raunchy and not written well that most of the humor really falls flat. The few jokes that are funny are in the trailer. Everything else is like so cheaply written, and so it's written for the quick, easy laugh that it's just like, this is not funny. James Franco is basically written to throw fuck into every single sentence. Why are you trying to eat my movie? Throw fuck into every single sentence, and hopefully people think it's funny. Bryan Cranston's got a few funny spots. You get a cool cameo by Kiss. But other than that, I mean, this movie was just not good. It was not that funny, and I was really disappointed because I figured this was going to be one of those movies that the critics shat on, but I was really going to like it when I actually saw it. But this is definitely a skip it because it was just not funny, not good at all. I'm sorry. Okay, here, you can have it. You can have it. Here you go. She already knows how to get me. But that's all the Blu-rays I got this week, this month, guys. I told you there was a lot on them, especially a lot of rebuys on the 4K. But put all your thoughts on these movies. As far as my pick of the month, I'm going to have to go with Patriots Day because, I mean, that's the best new movie that's come out, and that movie is just amazing. So aside from all the older movies, there's a couple of them that might trump it. The pick of the month as far as the new movies is absolutely Patriots Day. Go out and buy that one if you only buy one of them. But what do you guys think about these other movies? Have you seen it? Have you bought them? What do you think about them? Do you like them? Do you hate them? What do you think about Why Him especially? Was that even worth spending the $17? No, I don't think it was. Put all your thoughts on these movies down below, guys. And thank you again for coming back to Off the Shelves. Please like and subscribe and share this video and come back again to watch some more episodes of Off the Shelves next month. I'm sure I'll have another stack that's just as entertaining as this one to check out. Might even have my trusty co-host with me. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe and share. If you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.